Hey, jumper skippers and rope wranglers, Dizzy here from the Jump Rope Podcast, and today we are talking tricks. We're talking spins, we're talking 360s, so clean they'll make your head spin, literally. My guest is Robz, aka at Robz_360s on Instagram, a jump rope freestyle wizard known for spinning like a Beyblade in a wind tunnel and somehow still looking smooth doing it. In this episode, we talk about learning 360s without barfing in public, why failing 100 times before breakfast is actually the move, and how building your own beaded rope from scratch is totally normal behavior for a jump rope junkie. If you love jump rope tricks, freestyle flow, or just want to feel better about your own dizzy fails, you're going to love this one. So stick around. Let's jump on in. Try not to fall over. That's right. 3, 2, 1.
3,
Go.
2, 1, go!
Robz at Robz_360s on Instagram. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm just so happy to be able to talk to you. Like, I love watching your videos. What you do is just, I don't know. It's like super heroic to me. It's just so freaking fun to watch. And so I'm happy to have you on to talk more about that and what got you into jump rope. So
Cute.
can we start by you telling us like where you are in the world?
Yes. First of all, I also appreciate your time. Thank you so much for taking your time to talk to me. It's a pleasure always to share our stories.
Yeah,
It's a little bit unfair because I also would like to know from your side, so I hope I can ask you back some things.
sure.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much for it's a pleasure to be here with you. Hopefully we're gonna have a good time. Replying to your question, I'm basically currently in Germany. I'm originally
Okay.
from Portugal, but I'm a little
Okay.
bit of a son of the world, so I travel a lot. I like staying in different places. I lived in
Yeah.
Brazil, I lived in England, I lived
Oh,
in
wow.
France, and now I'm in Germany,
Wow.
but going back to Portugal soon. But originally
Yeah.
from Portugal, yeah.
So have you had your jump rope punch card stamped in all of those different countries?
I tried my best. I tried my best. I think not as I would like to, but
Yeah.
I could exceed something.
Yeah. You have some of your videos, or at least some of your most recent videos, the background is like, it looks like you're in like a brick building or you're up against a brick building. And it's just such a cool environment. And it really makes your rope pop as well. Is
Yeah.
that like your home or is that
Thank you
nearby?
so much. No, actually, I found it on the street, I'm a street guy. Yeah, I love being on the
Yeah.
street. I love jumping on the street. And here in Bremen, where I'm currently at, I found this spot because I mean, in Germany, the weather is not the best, right? So
Right.
I have to try to get some plan Bs. And I was always trying to think about a place that it could be, not that many people walking around where I could have my time and at the same time it could have a good light so I could record.
Yeah.
And by mistake I just passed by. I was like, what spot is this? Like what? Like damn. And then I started recording. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed the videos. For me now it's difficult to record there because it's getting night later here in Europe.
Sure.
So it has this shine when I record during the night,
During the
So
day.
yeah, no, actually
Yeah.
during the night, during the day is not the same, But yeah,
Yeah.
it's on the
Yeah.
street. It's on the street. It's a really nice spot.
That's fun. I've noticed that I have that same sort of habit of I've like developed the eye for jump rope backgrounds. You know, as I'm going around town, I see something, I'm like, wait, no, that would be so cool to jump in front of that, like from
Yeah.
this angle. Yeah.
Where are you living?
I live in a town called Red Wing in Minnesota. It's a small town. It's 16,000 people, 17,000 people, somewhere in there.
Red Wing. Red
So,
Wing, you
yeah.
said?
Red Wing, yeah. It's near Minneapolis, St. Paul. So that's about an hour away from me. So it's
Okay.
a rural enough community where there's not a ton of people. It's a small town, but
Okay.
it's super pretty and there's all sorts of great places to jump here, like
Okay. Nice.
so
I'm seeing here.
some of the fun of my Instagram is just finding, fun places to go skip outside because I love being outdoors as well.
That's good. That's good. Are you growing the community over there or what? I believe so. How's that going? How is that going?
I don't know. I'm growing the community of people who know that jump rope nut that is always out on the street or at the park or whatever.
Okay.
I have had people stop and ask me questions or whatever, but yeah, so far I haven't had any converts. I did do a photo shoot with a friend of mine
That's
yesterday,
good.
and
That's good.
she said that her daughter was sort of interested in jump rope. So I dropped a jump rope off to her yesterday and
Awesome.
hope to have a convert soon.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's what we are talking about, converting people. Like, hey, come here, man. What you doing? Do you like this? Come and
Yeah.
try. Come and try.
Right.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
but I am at the point where, the jump ropes themselves are precious enough to me that I don't want to just give them out to somebody who's like, oh, yeah, jump rope's kind of cool. Like I want to know that they're like, yeah,
In the
yeah, like I would totally skip. Like if you give me a rope, I will skip.
yeah,
And
yeah,
hell
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I've got a rope for you.
That's a little bit what I feel as well, like even
Yeah,
if we go to them and say like, hey, try, like, hey, you can do this move, and it's different when they are interested, when it comes to you like,
yeah,
hey, I want to give it a try.
yeah.
That's good.
I realize they don't have to have the addiction like we do. Like they don't need to be an addict like I am, where I'm like skipping 7 hours a day, but they have to be like, yeah, that is totally cool. I want to do that,
Yeah, yeah. I believe that I'm trying to, in quotes, understand and study how people can really get this addiction, because for people, a lot of people, it's really hard. They have no coordination at all, like they have no, they are so, it really looks like it's the first time they are trying something like this. So it's not easy, they really have to see and believe that they can start
Yeah.
from somewhere and developing little by little,
Yeah.
and this has to be understood somehow. Why you're not into it? So,
Yeah.
what is actually
It's
what's going
interesting. I've
on
been
with
thinking
it?
about that too. Like
Exactly.
in like different brain types. Like one thing I've thought a lot about is sometimes people will comment like, hey, you jump in rhythm to the music. I don't know how you do that. Like, and to me, I'm a musician, so I'm used to keeping rhythm. I could play drums, and so I have that sort of built in it, and my brain works that way. But some people, that's just not how their brain works, and that's okay, but they have to learn it a different way, or they have to
Exactly.
find their joy in a different perspective, and
Exactly.
that's okay. Not everybody has to be dizzy like out there doing his flailing like a muppet,
Exactly.
or Rob's doing like tornado 360s. Like, man, what you do is so fun to watch.
Thank you, man. I think we should at least I should use your name. Yeah, I should be dizzy. I should be dizzy, Skip.
You make me dizzy. I was going to name myself something else, and I watched one of your videos and just, woo.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's something
No.
it's something different. It's a different style. And that's exactly I was going to reply as what you said. That is, it's totally fine because people have uh different connections, they have different feelings,
Hmm.
different ways of seeing things. Same as music,
Hmm.
right? I'm also
Hmm.
by curiosity, I'm also not a musician, but I'm a beatboxer. So I also have the rhythm in my mind.
Sure. Yeah.
But people feel more free or when they dance or even way whatever.
Hmm.
And it's really interesting. It's actually really interesting to see things from this perspective that is
Yeah.
about doing differently. You
Hmm.
finding your best way of doing what you would like to do, Same
Yeah.
thing, but I found a different way of doing it.
Yeah.
And 360 was a little bit like this as well. Like I just started spinning. I started with reps, arm reps, and then I
Yeah.
unwrapping, and then I was like, okay, start
I can
going around.
unwrap while I'm going in a circle. Yeah.
Exactly. And then, yeah, I started enjoying, start getting
Yeah.
dizzy, really dizzy at the beginning. But then I was like, okay, it's good because I have to go against it, like if I get dizzy, I have to control my
Yeah.
body, like so
Right. Right.
here I
Yeah,
am.
I feel like I've seen one or two of your videos where you've done some pretty acrobatic spins and then stopped and sort of done this a little bit. Like internally, you were still spinning.
Probably,
Yeah,
probably because before recording, I'm constantly trying,
yeah,
always, 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 always. So when I ended up finishing the combo, sometimes it happens that I'm a little bit.
yeah.
Sometimes it's not
You've been
about.
spinning like a top for like a half hour. No wonder you're a little dizzy, right?
No, sometimes it's actually not the dizziness is the control of the spinning of the body. The
Okay.
equilibrium. The equilibrium. That's exactly what I wanted to say.
Okay.
So
Sure.
if I spin, especially triples, I will go really high. So
Yeah.
having a right equilibrium while 360, it can be
Hmm.
challenging. So sometimes it's more.
Yeah. I should back up real quick and just for people who have not yet seen any of Rob's reels, like one of the, like his Instagram name is Rob's underscore 360s. And it's because this mother 360s, like he goes in a circle, like he's jumping rope like crazy and doing these tornado 360s, and it's super fun to watch. And one of the things that when I was looking at those, I was thinking, Rob's, like, because you are adding that variable of spinning, you have to, and you're not just jumping, but sometimes you're doing jumps or crosses or wraps or things like that. It's very important that you have that fundamental like form down. Like you can't be sloppy on any of those ingredients or else the outcome is sloppy, right?
Wait, sorry. When you say sloppy, what do you mean by
Sloppy, I mean messy. Like you
okay, yeah,
can't
yeah.
be really lackluster about the way that you do your rap. You have to like get that cross in tight
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you can't be way out here because you're not going to be able to pull
Exactly.
off that 360. So
Exactly.
each ingredient that you're doing in that 360 routine has to be tight,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
that's why it's so fun to watch. And one other thing I'll say, I've
yeah.
seen in several of your reels where you're trying to pull off something like that. And then in your comments or maybe in your reel description, you make it known that it's not perfect. Like it was all good until I kind of messed up at the end or whatever. And the people commenting, including me, are like, oh my God, dude, you just like did this triple, backflip, double under, toad thing and landed it. And then you're unhappy because, you took an extra step or whatever.
Yeah, bro,
And I want, and I know that feeling, but
that's
I
so
wanted to
funny.
say, like, obviously, I think you're a superhero, not just because of what you do, but more because you obviously show up and you put in the work. Like,
Thank
you
you,
put
thank
in the
you.
work to get your form down. You put in the work to start doing these 360s and to figure out how to wrap and unwrap and get
We
under the
appreciate
rope
you.
and stuff like that. And so I think that makes you a superhero. It's not that you pull off every reel just like you want it, man.
Thank you so much,
And
bro.
I think
Yeah.
the same of all the other people in the jump rope community who are showing up. It doesn't matter if you're a week old or,
Sure,
a
sure,
month old or
sure,
you've been doing it for 10 years. Like showing
sure,
up and putting in the work makes you a
sure.
freaking superhero in
For
my book.
sure, I totally agree. It's not easy at all. It's not easy at all. And people
Right.
definitely they have space to shine their own thing, because each one has have their own bright, their own movement. So that's good.
Yeah.
I'm really actually it's really appreciate your feedback. It's really good to know. It's really good to see that my style it's seen,
Yeah.
and it's funny exactly as you said. For me, I'm definitely too perfectionist in my things, especially in videos. That is like and the phone that I normally use to record, it's always running out of battery or running out of
Space.
space. So for
Yeah. It
me it's
sucks.
yeah, I was like, it was not the best, but I have to take this.
Yeah.
But yeah, here we are trying harder and harder.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And I don't know if you saw that episode with M. Foley, but she had this
yeah,
great like quote from the episode, which is like, I fail 100 times before breakfast. And her point is like, failure is part of this. And like, you should wear it as a badge, like, because every time you don't pull off that 360 exactly like you wanted to, you put another notch in that badge
yeah,
that shows you're getting there, and you're going to get
exactly.
beyond it even.
Agree, totally agree. That's a good saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a
I
really
thought
good
she's
saying.
she's brilliant. And I thought that was great.
I
Just
love
pointing out
it.
it's okay.
Hey,
Like failure is part of it.
you should actually tip it. Use a board and write some words or phrases that people brought up,
Yeah.
that were important in
No,
his
that's
podcast.
that's true. I have it up in the attic. I have like a 6 foot by 8 foot whiteboard, like marker board. I could like stick it back here and start writing on it. A backdrop of all the cool quotes I get from people.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I hope to be in that book soon. I have to think it's something important.
Yeah. No, it's the stuff that just slips out that's
Yeah, for
always
sure, for
iconic
sure.
to me. So, Robs, when did you start jumping and where?
Okay, as I believe 90% of us, because of pandemic, right? Pandemic
Oh, really?
definitely. Was it
That was
the
your
same for
kickoff?
you? Yeah, yeah. Was it the same
No,
for you? Okay,
no.
okay, fine. Okay, you're not part of. Maybe let's reduce to 80% of the people.
Yeah. No,
But
it actually was like a huge thing for the jump rope community, right? Like it got a lot of people started, including like Lauren Jumps,
wow,
like
a
very
lot.
iconic jumper.
Lauren, Ria, Eunice,
Uh-huh.
Geraldo, a lot of people definitely. I started around actually. My first contact with jump rope was when I was living in Brazil practicing box. So of course I had to pick up the rope to warm up or
Mm-hmm.
to improve as a boxer.
Did you do any tricky stuff? Because that was my intro as well. Was like for kickboxing, and it was just like straight ahead warm up. Every once in a while we would cross, but that was like, or we'd try and jump backwards. But that was like
Okay,
as tricky as we got.
I never tried backwards at that time. For me, it was more footwork, footworkish thing,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
lifting
Boxer
knee,
skip.
changing, boxer skip, nothing of big footworks in terms of Polly Pocket or, you know,
Mm-hmm.
not the
Right.
more moves, simple moves, but at least I could get the rhythm, I understand a little
Right,
bit.
right, right.
When we were kind of locked down, we could have a time slot where we could supposedly go out to exercise or to do our things. And I used jump rope as a warm up once again. And then by mistake, not by mistake, but I was not posting on my personal Instagram at the time for quite a while. And I posted this little footwork thing, and people were like, "Oh man, that's good, that's amazing." And I was like, "That's nice, man. I didn't know that people would enjoy that much."
Mm-hmm.
So I started looking, and this was around 2019, I believe so. 20.
Okay.
I start looking, trying to find people to start to get inspired, to get some inspiration from someone. I start finding professional people, but it was not that much my thing. I wanted something more freestyle, something
Mm-hmm.
where you could bring your style with your. And then I saw Jimmy Says Relax from United States, and
Yeah.
then the game started changing, Then
That's right. Then it was on, right?
then it was on, fully on, fully on. And this
Yeah.
was, yeah, in 2020, I started like properly, like more
Mm-hmm.
regularly. Even I created my jump rope account, trying to get
Mm-hmm.
into the community, understand, talking to people, etc., etc., etc. So yeah,
Right.
it was around that.
So how did you learn? Like once you got started, what were you doing to learn tricks or learn more than you had learned with your boxing experience?
Actually, like Jimmy showed me a lot of things, like inspired me a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
But I always, of course, like not only Jimmy, but then I start coming across Chris, Nate KG,
Okay. Yeah, Nate KG.
and a
He's
few
brilliant.
more. He's amazing. A few more jumpers, not only doing tutorials, but you know, watching some
Mm-hmm.
movements and getting inspired by them. And
Sure.
I always was this guy of trying to create my own movements, of course, getting inspired by something, but I was,
Yeah, yeah.
especially because I start in 360, for me it was more, yes, practicing a lot by myself, trying to understand new movements, etc., etc. And with practice, yeah, look, here I
Yeah.
am, like pretty much
Yeah.
mostly of my movements, it's I came up with them.
So is it fair to say, because I would say this is kind of my story in a way, that I really wanted to get basic fundamentals down, like the basic bounce and then boxer skip and then a basic shuffle and stuff like that. And once I got a basic fundamental, I kind of, whether purposefully or through laziness, I stopped looking for specific instruction on how to learn new tricks. And I started just like trying to flow and figure out my footwork voice kind of, and just kind of figure out how I did stuff. And I feel like that really helped me in a way. And it sounds like you're describing the same sort of thing.
That's good. That exactly that. That's exactly that. Because you start getting in your own flow, like it's
Yeah.
good. It's always good that we get inspired by something, because
Sure.
sometimes the movement that we see is not exactly what we were trying to do, but by
Right.
trying it, we come up with something else that it's even easier for us and it applies completely in our style or movements or sequences. So it's
Right.
it's it's fine. So yeah, I totally agree. It's pretty much the same. It's all about, getting your own rhythm and let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah. I think we're all here to have fun, right? And I think one thing is that, y- y- or one thing I've said a few times recently is I don't think you have to put a lot of pressure on yourself to learn all the tricks. Like depending upon your personality type, if you're scrolling through Instagram, you see people
Right.
doing all this amazing stuff, and if you're if you're, your worth as a jump roper is based on what other people are doing, you're kind of screwed, right? Like you have to find out what
Exactly.
makes you happy and then do that stuff. And you don't have to learn at a huge pace or whatever. You just do what makes you happy. Like,
Exactly. And comfortable as
yeah.
well. I totally agree. What if we how would you describe your style? What's your style? What you normally practice? Is it more footwork, tricks, footwork?
Yeah, I would say if I were known for anything, it would be footwork stuff.
That's
And
good.
it's just kind of free flowing. Like I always jump to music. And
That's so
so
good.
I have a, whatever I'm listening to, I just kind of channel the music and flow if
That's
I
good.
can. That's my motto is try and turn my brain off and just flow, just move to the music.
That's good. That's
So
really good. That's really
yeah,
good. You said that you started before pandemic. I definitely would like to know when you started your jump rope journey.
I did kickboxing and karate and a few
Okay.
other martial arts almost 20 years ago. And
Okay.
sometimes as a warm up for those, like we would always do stretching and stuff. But if we were going to do boxing or sparring, then we would always do just some basic jump rope. And it was usually like 3 rounds of 1 minute.
Okay.
And that was my favorite part. I just loved that. It was a lot of fun. And it wasn't like I had a great rope or anything like that, or that I especially knew what I was
Doesn't
doing, but it
matter,
was
man.
just fun,
It doesn't matter.
especially when the sensei would like put on music and just like, all right, we're going to listen to, like Metallica, just go to town. And I'd be like having so much fun with it. But when I got out of martial arts or kind of let that go, I didn't keep with the jump rope for a while. And then in late 2023, I think it was like after Thanksgiving or something like that. I was sitting around late at night and I was on YouTube and I found a Lauren Jumps video, and then I found a
Good.
Katie Jumps video, and then I watched videos for like 3 hours in a row with my jaw just
Mm.
open, going, how do you do, like, this is amazing. How do you do this? Like, it was just the coolest thing I'd ever seen. So then I got a couple jump ropes off of Amazon, and Christmas Eve, I went over to my parents' house and did our thing and came back here and went out in the driveway with a jump rope and started jumping. And I had so much fun listening to music and jumping. I jumped for like 2 hours. I tripped constantly or whatever, but I didn't warm up at all or anything like that. And I totally overdid it. And then I did it again the next day. It was like all I could think about over the course of Christmas was like, I could get back out in the driveway with a jump rope. And so I did. And then I
Oh,
jumped
that's
again for 2 hours
amazing.
until I could only jump on one foot because one of them hurt so bad. And then I gave myself plantar fasciitis and I couldn't walk for like 6 weeks. And it was the most painful, humiliating thing because all I wanted to do was like
Definitely, you
jump and
couldn't
dance.
forget.
But that's also one reason why my perspective on making mistakes and, effing up when you're trying to like pull something off is like I dance and I laugh at myself because there was a time that I couldn't make mistakes because I couldn't walk, and all I wanted to do was be out there and whipping my shins
Yeah, that's
and
another thing.
cracking my knuckles, right? Like, and now when I'm out there and I get a good, like I whacked myself so hard in the ass today, it took my breath away. And I was like, this is why I'm here. I'm here for it 100%.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. You don't care. Whip me, man. Whip me. Feel free to whip me. I won't
I know.
stop. I won't
Like
stop. I'm gonna
hurt
keep it
so good,
going.
like the John Mellencamp song,
I
right?
can imagine you jumping like fuck, 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 and then you stop. You breathe. It's like that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. There's sometimes that I say that after a few other colorful metaphor, like a few other swear words or whatever. But so can I ask you, like, as far as what jumping does for you, like once you got started with jump rope, when did you start realizing physical or mental benefits, and how did it benefit you?
I started. It's funny because when I start jumping, I didn't know exactly that it was that powerful. I knew it was good. I knew it was important. It was
Right.
a good exercise. Well, I think I was aware of how good it was, but I was not aware how quick it could be.
Right. Like how fast acting it is.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the thing. And of course, like in pandemic, we were at home eating everything, right? So it's pretty
Right.
normal
Like
that
the world's going to end. Might as well.
exactly. So I gained some pounds, as you guys say in America, extra.
Yeah, me too.
And so I start falling in love with jumping rope, after posting the thing and doing my
Mhm.
my video. And then I start constantly because I wanted to get something new, something different, So I
Mhm.
was trying and trying and trying. More into footworks, also new
Like trying
movements.
different tricks and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then same as you, I was jumping for 2 hours, no joke, two completely hours. I remember one day I jumped for 3 hours, 3 hours and a
Mhm.
half, almost four.
Yeah, yeah.
My digital watch was counting 3,000 calories burned. I was like, what?
Right, right.
And man, at that time, I was trying everything at home. I remember my roommate, she had a bicycle, right? Those standing
Yeah,
bicycles. And I was
yeah.
trying it. I was trying and watching Netflix and trying, and trying to get, man, as soon I picked up the rope, everything was like, woof, disappeared. It's like, geez.
Yeah, like mentally, you mean?
No, it was mostly physical, but
Mhm.
mentally, man, mentally it was after when I become even more free in terms of pandemic, right? And when I
Mhm.
was going with the jump rope everywhere and
Mhm.
having the relief of everything and forgetting the world around, that's
Mhm.
it was mentally the punch. So first of all
Yeah,
came the physical one, and then mentally
yeah.
afterwards.
How would you describe the mental benefits that you get from jumping rope? Like what different benefits do you get? I know like for me, like hyper focus is one of them. And then the ability to block out everything else.
I would say somehow the benefit of being constant, consistency, it's really applied here
Mhm.
because same as the movement, same as your attitude, your getting out there and practice and do your thing.
Mhm.
When I say consistency, because you have when you want to get the shape of these movements that you really want, you have to practice it and fail and fail and fail and fail and fail.
Mhm.
Patience
And swear, and
also
swear.
swear as well. Patience is also something that it completely matches here. There was a
Right.
different, also another level reached. Um,
Mhm.
and relief, man. It's this freedom of, like you forget about everything. You just think about the movements. It's something that it's unpayable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's magic. This friend, Sarah Marshall, who was on one of the early episodes, I think she stated it perfectly where she said, like, she gets the jump rope going and she's in her little force field. Nothing outside of that, like, can touch her. And I was like, that
That's exactly it.
is the perfect way of describing what it does for me. I'm in my
That's
force field.
exactly it. That's exactly it. Yeah, it's a bubble completely, and we stay in the bubble that is nothing happens out there.
Yeah. Um, when you're jumping rope, how much thinking do you do? Are you planning routines like, hey, I'm planning this combo. It's going to be these, 8 moves or 10 moves, or do you just free flow?
Yeah, it's a good question because I try to have combos, but I don't have combos. Like if you would tell me, oh, do show me your best combo, I wouldn't have. I would
Yeah.
probably freestyle. I would think about two or three movements that I could apply in this combo, but I don't
Right.
have like a full combo. So I'm a
Right.
more freestyle person, so
Mhm.
it's mainly that I have some movements that I know they are hard, they are difficult. They can be applied pretty much in any combination.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's really, to be honest, it's really hard for me, especially that's why I don't think I'm a footwork guy, because it's really hard for me to remember like a certain pattern, like from
Sure.
here to here, I have to do this. Boy, it's really hard for me. It's really hard for me.
Yeah. Yeah. On your Instagram profile, I think you have a statement like you can teach people to do 360s. And it made me curious, like when people are learning how to do 360s like you do, like maybe not to the level that you do, but when they're learning how to pull them off, what are the steps in teaching someone to do a 360? Is like, do you have to focus on those fundamental things? Like, hey, in order to do this 360, you're going to have to be able to do an arm wrap and a basic bounce and, a 180 twice.
Yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely the most important tip is the dizziness part, because
really?
yeah, because since the beginning you're gonna be practicing one, you're gonna do it twice, you're gonna do three times, four times, 10 times. So you're gonna end up dizzy, and people get
Hmm.
dizzy really, really, really easy.
Yeah.
Um, so it's mainly about the technique, the opposite technique. So we spin in different direction.
Right.
And the good thing is, of course, like the basic bounce, it's super important. It has to be there because it's going to be part of the sequence that we're going to build. But
Hmm.
at the same time, there are a lot of movements, 360 movements that you don't need exactly to jump on it, right? So you can
Okay.
learn 360 without.
Wrapping, for example, or
Exactly. Wrapping, open 360, a Texan 360, like, yeah.
what is a Texan?
Texan is this one that you swing, you bring the rope here, you spin, and then it comes to the
Okay, so
body.
you're not actually crossing, you're just kind of
Yeah, spinning.
rotating and bringing it back over.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Of course,
Yeah.
exactly. Here we go. So of course, it's always important to have the basic bounce, right? It's
Hmm.
always be there. And this is
When you
definitely the pretty much the same level, because as soon as we
yeah.
start spinning, basic bounces coming.
When you're teaching people how to do 360s, where do they hit the snags most? Or what's the hardest thing for people to get over?
It's the arm position. Normally, because it's kind of tricky when we spin, one arm has to be a little bit farther from your body. So
Hmm.
it's really hard to find the center in 360s.
Hmm.
And it happens, of
Yeah.
course, like legs, Dave, all the time.
Yeah.
But it's mainly in the finding the center and the position. Sometimes they curve a lot to make sure that the rope goes down.
Yeah.
So yeah, this too, I would say.
I know what you mean. There's one move that I do, probably overdo, where I try to like lean out over my body like it looks like I'm slanted forward. And when I do that, I have to move my arms back to rotate a little bit further back because my center has moved back, right? Like it's not out under my chest
Yeah,
anymore, right?
yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. It's funny to understand because when our body rotates in a certain way, the rope and arms, we have to kind of follow and understand where everything is positioned. So mainly arms, we have to, control and balance correctly to let the rope pass. And at the same time, we have to think that we should go as slow as possible. I actually try to apply this a lot to my students, not only people that I teach this. That is like,
Hmm.
chill, like feel. Try to understand every single movement that you do, like, calmly,
Hmm.
because sometimes a lot of people have tension, and
Yeah.
it doesn't help at all. And as soon when they understand this, it's a little bit game changing because it gets smoother. They finish the movements with more accuracy.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. You know what it makes me think of is like I love driving. I love high
Oh, good.
performance driving stuff. And I
That's so
went to
good.
this racing school as a client of my company's, and
That's so good.
they're out in Washington State and they teach race driving and stuff. And so I went out and I had a class, and the owner, or one of the owners of the company, this race car driver, he was saying, your job as a driver of a car is you are a weight manager. Like your job is to manage weight. And when you're on the track or you're off the track, your job is to manage the weight of that car as you take a corner, whether it's rainy or icy or whatever, you manage the weight. And it's the same exact thing with jump rope, right? And if
That's
you think
exactly.
about it in terms of managing the weight and the rotation of the rope rather than forcing it, like
Yeah.
if you think of it in doing like, I need to do the minimum necessary and be as efficient as possible to get this done rather than I need to go at it and just get, you
Exactly.
know what I mean? Like if you realize, hey, my job is to manage the weight and the rotation of this rope, and I need to intervene only as much as necessary to get that done.
Exactly. And Dizzy, it's really important what you're saying right now because um, a lot of people, they not even go that far. It's not going. And then they whip again. Poof, it's not going. It's like, "Nah." this rope. Nah, man, this rope it doesn't.
Yeah.
Nah. And it's not in the rope. It's on you. You know, it's
Right,
exactly that.
right.
Not only you control the weight, but first of all, you're gonna control your mind to make your muscles relax, to make you be completely chill. You know, and to
Mhm.
understand exactly what is. I see a lot as math. You know, because you have to
Yeah.
understand exactly where's the center, where's the position. Do you think that
Especially
every
when you're
movement?
spinning and stuff like that, right? Like,
Exactly. But not
because your
only.
center might be changing
Yeah,
as you're
exactly.
rotating.
Exactly. A big question is, do you believe every movement it's possible?
Do I believe every movement is possible? I'm not sure I know what you mean by that.
Like every jump rope movement, you know, like when you imagine, if you imagine the craziest trick, I'm not saying something completely impossible that is like you jump, you backflip, and then you do mamba mamba
I'm
cross
just thinking of
backwards.
flight. Like, I just want to take flight, like do a double cross and then just fly on for a half hour. Like,
Half an hour. Okay, that's challenging. That's challenging. But somehow
is
I
that too
believe a
much to
lot
ask?
of movements, jump rope movements are possible, right? When you think
Yeah.
about something really hard,
Oh,
even if
yeah.
it takes 1 year, 2 years to
Yeah.
achieve this movement, it's possible.
Yeah. Do you know that guy? Is it Jumper Yassine? Like, I've seen this guy come cartwheeling across a stage, jumping rope at the same time as he's cartwheeling. I've seen flips. Like, I've seen people do all sorts of acrobatic stuff. And yeah, I think if you can envision it and if physics is not, going to get
Exactly.
too much in the way,
Exactly.
you
That's
could
what I'm
pull it
saying.
off. You could learn to pull
That's
it
what
off.
I'm
You may
talking
need
about.
to start on a really soft mat or a trampoline or something like that, but I think you can learn all sorts of stuff. And
Yeah.
so when people say, "Oh, I can never do what you do," I like yet, right?
See?
Yet.
That's exactly
Like
it.
you could learn it if you put your mind to it and do what
Exactly.
Robs does.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's it. That's exactly it. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
Yeah. So you've got the poster behind you for the high jump, and I know it's also linked for your profile. Can you talk a little bit about that and your involvement in that?
Yeah, sure. It's a pleasure. So I created the high jump. I developed the high jump myself. As soon as I started to get into the community, going backwards a little bit, I was already involved in a community, the beatbox community. Okay, so
Okay.
when I started doing beatbox, it was a street thing, right?
Hmm.
I also had a rap group, a rap
Okay.
crew. So I
Nice.
used to be this guy of beatboxing and people freestyling around me, going
Nice.
to competitions, etc., like different things. So I had this experience of being involved in a community.
Mhm.
And as soon I came across the jump rope community, I started seeing that there were a lot of people from different parts of the world sharing their movements. I kind of visualized pretty much the same as beatbox, you know. And I was thinking like, okay, then I want to see actually who's behind it, who's coming up with movements, with different challenges, with whatever it is. And I found some brands, of course, like jump rope brands selling products. I also find Elevate Rope, Chris, etc. And I when I created my personal account, I was like, I want to share people, like I wanna spread what people are doing, but it's kind of weird that I'm doing on my personal, right? Because if I'm only here on my personal sharing people's Instagram, it might be weird.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm going to create something and develop something that it can involve everybody, can involve the whole
Hmm.
community. That's exactly where the high jump came, and that's exactly the purpose. It's about uniting everybody, with any enthusiasm, brands, communities, where everybody can connect and share the joy of jump rope.
So I think I've brought it up on the screen here. This is the site for it,
Oh,
right?
that's the site. Yes, yes.
So can you define what the high jump is for people who haven't heard about it? Like, what exactly is the high jump?
Yes, so the high jump, it's a jump rope community where people from all around the world can connect themselves, regardless if you are an enthusiast, regardless if you are brands, if you have communities. It's a place where everybody can connect, can see each other, can get inspired, and bring the movement even higher all around the world.
Okay. So they register for the site and then get it like a user account? How do they connect?
So the website, it's actually we are working on the website. It's not launched
Okay.
officially. It's
Oh, okay.
I
So
re
I'm
No, 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 it's totally fine. It's totally fine. That's why
all right.
it's on, because we always have space to improve and to see different
Sure.
perspectives, and people give feedback. And so we have indeed the login part, but it's
Hmm.
not exactly uh, structured as we want. But there you can find some events, right, that will happen, that we have there, the Paris meetup, Gdansk meetup, online event that we had.
So are these events all community events, or are they events that you are organizing personally?
No, no, community events.
Okay.
Gdansk, for example, is organized by people in Poland. Paris, it's from Chris, Geraldo, and the French jumper. Yeah, they have some
So this
information
is
there.
great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the purpose is exactly like connecting people across the globe, like regardless if it's United States, if it's Gambia, if
Yeah.
it's whatever it is, like people, if they are around, they can see what's gonna happen in the following days or months.
So if someone wants to engage with this, like how do they get signed up?
So they have this login. Mainly of our information is on our Instagram, right? So
Okay.
we can share
Perfect.
information directly. Here is some
Hmm.
out general informations, right? So it's not updated as our Instagram, for example. But
Sure.
there, for
It's hard
example,
to keep up so many things, isn't it?
yeah,
Like as somebody who's got a website and Instagram and people are like, you should be on TikTok and Face. I'm like, I don't have time for it all.
indeed, indeed, indeed. In our website, we also we are taking care of our shops, that we also are gonna be partnering with different brands. That's exactly what the high jump it's made of connecting also brands. So
Hmm.
brands will also expose in their products on our website. So if people are just getting started in the jump rope, they want to buy a jump rope, they go there. It's
They can kind of learn about it
They can learn about
or
it. They can
find
get
places.
find places to buy jump ropes, regardless their location. And it's a little bit too uniting everything, every information about jump rope. We have our blog as well, that it's definitely gonna be a pleasure to introduce Dizzy Skips and his podcast around.
Nice. Yeah.
So yeah, all this.
Cool. Well, that's really cool that you're doing that. I mean, one of the things that made me start the podcast to begin with was how amazing the community is. Like, I mean, it was just the love and support that I got and how everybody was positive. Like, and it didn't matter really how, like, I didn't have to be jumping like a pro. I had to be trying, and people were there
Exactly.
saying, "You're doing a good job. Keep
Yes,
trying."
yes,
Like,
yes,
and
yes.
like that is so awesome. And so I wanted to learn more about people who are out there rooting me on and contributing to the community. So once you started looking around on Instagram for other people, then you started noticing the community. When did you get to the point where you're like, oh, wow, this is something different, like this jump rope community? I want to be part of this.
I think it was a little bit during this time that I was getting into jump roping, when I start seeing the community, Jimmy, and so on, so on, so on, all other jumpers around, that automatically my brain was like, okay, so we can definitely, I could also understand that community was not that big, so we are not
Hmm.
talking about a skate, we are not talking about, BMX. It's a sport that is still coming,
Yeah. It's
it's
evolving,
still
right? Yeah.
exactly. I mean, in the United States, it's completely different. But even though we can see that it's still growing, right? In your city, it's not as normal to go around and see people jumping rope as you do.
No, no. I'm the freak out on the street with the
Is
jump
it?
rope.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
see, as soon I saw that this could have the potential of being again the playground and the game and having fun of the street, but not only for kids, I was like, nah,
Right.
that's exactly the moment that I'm going to apply also ideas that I had from beatbox and bring it to the jump rope community, you know. So that's why
Yeah.
we came across of doing online tournaments. We are doing this meetup that we are organizing now in Portugal is it's a meetup that also has a urban battle, you know, like where people go there and just they show their tricks, and it
Yeah.
giving this space to people to shine, you know, because there are people that
Yeah.
are skilled out there, you know, and I don't need to be professional to, you know, to be competing or to showing my skill somehow, you know. So that's why we came across with this idea and start creating this movement. And man, luckily it goes, and gets these people inspired to
That's
be
so
part of
cool. I
it.
can't wait to come to one of your meetups. Like,
Man, you should. You definitely
yeah.
should. You would love it.
As soon
Definitely.
as I can afford
I
it,
hope
like
so.
maybe I can help you organize one over here.
It would be
You know,
amazing. I would
yeah,
love to. I'm swear.
that would
This is
be,
definitely something that I would like to tell you even before after your podcast, because I definitely want to talk to you again to see what we can bring together. Because what you're
yeah,
doing is, man, I really appreciate. Once again, you are one of those bringing something different to different audiences, you know, like
mm,
bringing new concept, people that they feel like, I like this guy is talking. I like what this guy is doing, you know, like I want to be more involved in it. Seeing the freaking
thanks.
guy jumping on the streets, and they're like, I wanna be like him, you know. I wanna do what he's doing, you know. So
Yeah,
congratulations,
I mean, it's just thank you so much. That's very sweet of
man.
you, and I just get so much joy from it that it's
I
hard not to
believe
want to
it.
spread it, right? Like it's just, and it's so accessible. Like you're talking about, like jump. How
Exactly.
many have, like, my stepmom, her hobby used to be horses. Like, how much money can you spend on a freaking horse or a boat? There are people here towing boats to the river all the
Yeah.
time. And, the boat itself costs more than their car and it needs maintenance. And here in the cold weather, you got to take it out of the water. You got to put it in the water. You take it out and all that stuff. Like a jump rope under $100, you can
Take
get
it out of your
a
pocket.
bunch of, right. Yeah. Take it out of the pocket. You could be at the mall. You could be anywhere and just whip it out and have fun.
Exactly. That's exactly what we're talking about, man. That's
Yeah.
exactly what we're talking about. One of my missions is definitely reach this to the younger people, you know, like
Mm,
these people, the younger generation, you know, people they
mm-hmm.
are watching TikToks, they are on Instagram, they
Mm-hmm.
are on YouTube, they want to learn something.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to bring that to this generation to get them involved, you know, to get this passion about the new freestyle things that we can.
Yeah.
I really, really rooting for this.
You got to like position it as rebellious, like this is
Mhm.
something your parents don't want you to do. And then they're like, hell yeah, give me a colored rope and I'll be out there jumping my ass
That's so
off.
true. That's exactly it, man. That's exactly. You're
Yeah.
gonna
You got to
jump
use
rope
that
again?
reverse, yeah, that jump rope beaded reverse psychology on them. Get them out there doing it.
I love it.
That's so fun. So I'm curious, when you're out on the street jumping, do people ever come up to you and stop? And if so, like what age groups actually take notice of what you're doing?
That's a good question. I think I take pretty much all ages.
All ages?
Recently, yeah, recently
Yeah.
I had last week I was jumping. So I try to be when I jump, I don't like that much to be seen.
Right. Yeah.
If I'm jumping, if a group passes, probably I will stop. Now, depending how
Yeah.
far they are,
Yeah. You're not like Prince out there and
exactly,
beaded stuff
showing
like, look
off.
at me. Yeah.
Exactly. I try to keep it
No.
low.
Right.
But
Right.
well, sometimes it's not possible, right? Sometimes I also want to jump around because people are just chilling around at the track. So sometimes I'm also into if someone comes to give me feedback, of course, it's gonna be a pleasure to hear it. So
Hmm.
last week I had mainly kids, around three, four
Hmm.
kids. They come to me, they're like, "Oh, that's so good what you're doing." When I say
That's
kids,
cool.
like 8 years, from 8 years old to 14.
That's cool.
I already had older people or way older people, 70, 50. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. Well,
Yeah.
that's even better, right? When we can reach everybody. Everybody sees
Hmm.
it. They know what it is, right?
Yeah.
But
And
even though,
I mean, like when I watch you, I think that guy is having so much freaking fun. Like he is having a ball, right? And I think if people watch me, that has to come through as well because I'm laughing at myself and I'm dancing like a Muppet out there or whatever. And I think that's fun to watch, even if people don't care about the jump rope as much. Like just watching someone getting their groove on is kind of fun, right? It's kind of
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, totally agree with you. Are you more into jumping in your corner or showing off a little bit? Do you like to show people to spread it more?
no, I'm not dressing like Elton John and like skipping right down the middle of the, red carpet. No, but I am not afraid to jump in the parks.
Okay.
Like this morning I hiked up to a park that is closed to cars right now and I jumped up there for a couple hours and there weren't many people there, but there's a few people out walking their dogs or whatever. So it's harder to stay hidden because there's, or to feel anonymous because you're one person out of four people in the entire park.
Yeah.
But I don't care. Like I'm having fun and I'm not offending anybody. But I don't get in people's face and like, hey, watch me jump. But I did lose my shame. So I figure if people like what I'm doing, that's really cool. If they don't like what I'm doing, that's their business. And
That's
it's
good. Are
not mine.
you are you shy? If you would have to perform for
I used
for
to be very much so like paralyzed by it, like stage fright kind of thing. And what's funny is I got this grant for business development stuff. And one of the things I put it toward was photography. And so I had a photo shoot with a photographer yesterday and we've done
Oh, good.
one more in the recent past. And it was all me jumping, and so she'd
Oh,
say like, I
good.
want you to face this way and then jump here. And I'm going to try and stop your rope when you're doing this move. And I
Oh,
tell her
good.
like, I can try different moves. And she's like, I like the single hand swing. So it's like, do more of those. And so 2 years ago, if you would have said, oh yeah, you're going to jump rope in front of somebody who's like photographing you, I would have like everything would have been tripping and I would have been so frustrated. There were the pressure and there was no pressure. First of all, she's a great photographer and it was just fun. I'm to that point where I'm in it for the fun. And so I just went out and had fun. And I think for people, my opinion is that kind of stuff comes through on camera and it makes like when you see someone genuinely having fun, even if they're swearing and whacking their shins or whatever, you know, those are real people and you can identify with that. And
Yeah,
so
that's
yeah,
good.
so I
That's
just sort of
good.
went with it. And I know there's plenty of those moments where I'm whacking my shins and stuff, but that's part of it. It
That's
was
part of
fun.
it. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Meaning that when the city hall of Red Wing come to you like we have a performance for you for the whole city, you're gonna be like, yes, I'm in. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, the photographer I was working with used to work with the visitors bureau, and she's like, "Yeah, you have to do the partner thing with them." And so,
Yeah, yeah.
I think I will go talk to them and see because I've skipped in
That's
every
so
park and
good.
I skip on all sorts of benches and stuff. So
That's
anyway,
so good. That's so good. I have some pictures of your place running on my computer right now. So
oh yeah, nice. So I'm curious. I think you kind of hinted at this before with your phone, but I was going to ask you about your tech stack. Like when you are filming yourself, how do you physically do it? Is it just your phone? And if so, are you just using standard video mode, propping it up, or do
yeah.
you have a tripod?
Well, I actually have a tripod. Yeah, this low budget tripod.
Mhm.
Um, I use this phone that I'm using right now for the video call. It's
Mhm.
not the best quality. This phone is an S9, so it's from
Mm.
almost from the 90s, and but it still works. It still works.
Yeah.
As soon as I record it, I edit it in a video editor. Also, not
Okay.
too complicated to work with.
Mhm.
I apply some effects, some frames. That's all we
Sure.
got. That's all we got. Of course, I
So
would
and
like to level up a little bit in terms of more quality, like better
yeah.
edition, but it takes time. It takes time.
Yeah, it does. I am always learning about that stuff and feel like I make a little progress here and there. And
Yeah.
so, what about like your ropes? Are you a beaded rope guy? Are you a PVC guy? Are
That's a
you
good
an
question.
equal opportunity employer?
That's a really good question. I used to be, I'm beaded guy. Definitely, I'm beaded guy. I started with PVC, so PVC was my first jump girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon I started seeing this tricks as relief, I started with PVC as well, but mainly relievers. I was like, I had to get one of these. And it's funny because
Felt like you had to get a beaded rope in order to learn releases?
yes, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. It's funny because in Portugal I couldn't buy, it was not possible to buy at all. I had to ship from somewhere. At the time, it was not accessible for me.
Wow.
So, and I wanted now. I didn't want to wait.
Yeah.
I really
Right.
didn't want to wait. So what I did was I went to some stores in Portugal. They sell a lot of material, and I bought myself a tube. I started cutting the tube in more or less the same. I changed
Nice.
some handles, and I got my first beaded rope, man. And then guess
Dude, that is
what?
industrious as hell.
For sure. I think I still have it at home, man. Definitely, this is
That's
gonna be.
awesome.
And
That is a motivated mother right there. Like you
so,
wanted to jump so bad you were gonna build it from scratch.
yes, sir. And that's exactly what I did. And it worked, man. It worked. It was
Yeah.
my definitely I started doing 360 with this rope, like it was
Yeah?
good. Yeah.
Nice.
This rope definitely I got it for a couple months because then I started having the idea of building the high jump, building our or producing our own ropes and But so I was always changing ropes, always changing. I ended up
Mm-hmm.
buying original ropes from different brands. Trying
Mm-hmm.
it, whatever. But yeah, but just to reply that I'm a beaded rope. Yes, this was the story of the beaded. I started with PVC. Nowadays, I'm really into PVC. I'm really into PVC moves. I'm trying constantly some double sequences. Double under,
Mm-hmm.
cross, open, cross.
So with your PVC, like what weight? I know I've got some from like Elevate, for example, that are like
Yeah,
4 mil PVC that are like relatively thin, whippy ropes, and then I
yeah.
have some that are like I've got one from U Rope that's a 6 mil that's heavier.
And I would like to try that one. Mine, I think it's four or five, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. But I really would like to try this.
Yeah, the 6 is my favorite. Like in
Are you
fact,
are you PVC? Are you PVC guy?
I would say I jump like 90 something% of the time with beaded. Like I'm a beaded
Okay.
guy. Like
Okay.
totally. I like the extra weight and the feedback. But when I had a former guest on, Sean, he was like, see Sean Skip, he was talking about how he had tried a 6 mil PVC and how it was like the perfect balance of the weight of a beaded with the sort of, forgiveness of a PVC, I guess. I don't know if that's the word that he used,
Okay.
but
Okay.
so I picked one up and yeah, totally. Like it's heavy enough that you can feel where it is. You get that proprioception, like
That's so good. That's why I'm really excited about trying it out.
yeah, that I think, and I've said this recently, but with the lighter PVCs, they're super fun. Like you can go insanely fast with them, but you have to pay attention to what your wrists are doing.
Yeah.
If you get lazy with your wrists or your form, then things can just, kind of
Mess up.
crumble. And with beaded, you have enough feedback that it's easier to kind of keep cognizant of where the rope is,
I agree.
and
I totally agree.
yeah.
I
So I
totally
feel like
agree.
that 6 mil PVC gives you enough weight feedback that kind of
I'm really excited to try 6 millimeter. I'm not joking
yeah.
because I
You'll
feel that
love it,
you
dude.
you
I
you
know it.
can yeah, man. I really because when I have this in mind that I think I would like this. Normally it's
No.
like yeah,
No, you're
90%
gonna
I'm gonna
freaking
be
love it. You're gonna write me and go, "Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't do this sooner."
bro for sure. Especially because I'm trying to get a little bit more into double footwork a little bit as well.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get some movement, some rhythm. It's also really
Yeah.
important, really nice. So definitely 6 millimeters. I think we'll bam punch it, punch
Yeah, it's fun. You
to
can
the
get it going
dragon.
so fast that you don't like your feet almost don't even come up off the floor. Just, like enough for the rope to pass underneath. And that feels so good. It's fun to watch too, where you watch a video of yourself and it almost looks like you're standing still, just vibrating.
That's so good, and you're making me jealous. Now I need to make my own PVC. I'm joking.
You're gonna go out to the hardware store and all right,
They
6
have a
mil PVC
PVC.
stat.
Give
Yeah,
it to
that's
me.
right. I need 9 feet of PVC stat.
Have you tried longer than this, like bigger than this, like 7 millimeter?
I have one from Hero that is a quarter pound, and it's PVC, but it's got the wire in the middle of it, for the
Oh,
extra
okay.
weight. So I don't actually know what the diameter of it is. I would guess it to be like 7 or 8
Yeah, yeah.
millimeter or something
Okay.
like that.
Was it
But
too heavy for you, maybe?
no, it's a quarter pound. I love it. I love those heavier ropes because again, it's just so easy to feel where things are, and I don't mind the workout. I feel like if I want to make something look really really good on PVC, I will practice it on a heavy rope, and then I will practice it on a beaded rope, kind of step down, and then I'll start practicing on the PVC, and then you just first of all you feel like Superman because you can move the thing like right, like you can just go so fast and then having stepped down from a heavier rope, you have that feeling, you have that muscle memory of where things are so that by the time you get to something that's lighter,
Yes,
you don't
yeah,
have to
yeah,
think so
yeah.
far about.
Well, sometimes for me, it's weird. For example, if I'm using a beaded rope, right? Of course, we all have this rope, this beaded rope or rope that is like, well, this is mine. Regardless if you have 7 millimeters, that is 1 millimeter, 1 7 millimeter, and that is the one.
The
Um,
perfect one. Yeah.
exactly.
Your baby.
Exactly. So when I change from beaded to PVC, it's fine. But then if I get like a lighter beaded, it's not fine at all. It's like, nah,
Oh,
I don't. Well, actually,
yeah.
it depends because I have a jump rope from Chris, Coach Chris.
Hmm.
This rope is really heavy. I really like it because it has a totally different flow. However, my PV is, I don't know if it's the same, the one that I say, this is the one,
Hmm.
but so it's a level down, but I'm still okay. If I get a
Yeah.
lighter one, maybe I'm not gonna be that okay. Either a lighter beat it.
It's interesting. I'm totally exactly the same. Like this one is from Europe and their Europe Pro, they have a heavier cable in them. And
Mhm,
I like that. And Chris on his website, you can order with 2 different sizes of cable, but I think
mhm.
the heavier one is the one that like the people that I've talked to say it's exactly what you want. And
Yeah,
I love that level
that's
of feedback.
exactly. That's a completely different.
Yeah. And I feel like once you, and what do I know? I'm still young at this, but I feel like once you learn a trick and can nail it with a rope of that heft and stuff, you can get that muscle memory down so that you can step down to a 4 mil PVC or 6 mil or whatever,
Mhm.
or step up to a heavier rope if you want, and
Yeah,
still you've learned the mechanics of it, right?
exactly. That's
And you
really
can
interesting.
adapt.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. That's really interesting. It happens exactly like that. You know what you're doing. Even if you pick up like phew, the cheapest, cheapest rope in the market, you know what to do with that. So you're still
Hmm.
gonna have the mechanic. You might be able to release with it if it's the case, or do some footwork.
Yeah.
One day I was in vacation in Azores, in an island in Portugal, and I found kind of a bamboo stick, like a
Yeah.
bamboo stick, and I kind of fold it to give it a little bit rounded shape. I start a jumping rope with it, and then I did a release. Can you believe that I could catch it? It spun like twice, and then I could catch it.
Nice.
Insane, man, insane. So that's
Yeah.
exactly as you're doing. Once that you know the
Right.
mechanics, you can perfectly work with it. So that's
Yeah,
amazing.
you know the mechanics, and then also you build up those muscles and um neurons or pathways in your brain that allow you to do that stuff. Like one of the other things that I've talked to people about, and I've noticed with myself a whole bunch, is just my reaction time to stuff is so much better. Like if I drop a pencil, I can grab it out of the air
Well,
without
Superman.
looking at it. Right. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I feel like a little ninja, and it's not like I'm really trying hard. It's just like, no, I have spun that rope around me so much, and I know what it takes to move my hand to catch something, that
That's so
It's
true, man. That's so
yeah,
true. That's one of the powers of jumping rope, man.
right. Yeah, it's a great exercise for your brain.
That's
My
uh,
stepmom does Legos, and I think that's a fun exercise
oh,
for your
that's
brain.
so
But jumping
good.
rope is also a good one, right? It keeps your circulation going up in your
Yeah,
noggin and all
yeah.
sorts of fun things to learn.
Try to build a Lego jump rope for her so that maybe she jumps with you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't, yeah. The mechanics of putting together a Lego jump rope that would actually hold together while you were jumping. I'm sure
Yeah, it would. It
someone
would.
can do it. There's some jump rope engineer out there.
For sure. I have no
Yeah.
doubt about it.
So what's next for you, Robs? Like what are you I know you've got some upcoming community events, right? Some meetups. What's next for you personally with jump rope? Are you working on anything in fun, either
Yeah,
skills wise or community wise?
yeah. I think I can include everything that it's related to jump rope. Personally as well, developing or improving my skills, learning. I would like to be more active on my personal Instagram to share a little bit more of the tricks. Currently, I'm in Germany, so in a few months I'm going to Portugal exactly to step out of the game a little bit more in Portugal because of skill to be applied, like in Portugal there's no jump rope movement at all. So I want to bring it to the schools. I want to bring it to social neighborhoods, like the social hood and taking care of the brand, improving the brand, partnering with people, taking care of the meeting as well. So everything it's growing little by little. It's kind of officializing kind of a little bit more the brand. Once that I'm going to Portugal, I'm going to apply 100% of my time and for jump roping.
Wow.
So let's see how it goes. I really have a mission, man. I have a mission with this, so I have to keep going as much as possible. So yeah, a lot of things to
Well, that's
do.
exciting. That's an exciting mission. And like,
Thank you for
I
sure.
remember my grandpa telling me when I was young, like, you got to find something that you love and get paid to do it. Like,
Yes,
man,
exactly,
like, I
man.
want to get paid to do this stuff,
That's
because this is so
exactly.
fun. It's like
Are you
insane.
thinking, do you have the same vision? Like, do you see yourself like applying? Because what you already doing, it's amazing, man. It's like you bringing people to talk about it, to spread the world, to spread the word to the world. And do you see yourself doing it as living, like having a podcast, your YouTube channel, having people, having your studio? Do you see yourself this?
I would love to get to the point where that was basically my job. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know when that could happen. I've got some personal issues I have to get past, some
Okay,
legal stuff that I can't quite talk about, but I think,
okay.
at some point, there's no reason why this can't be part of my job, if not all of my job.
Well, as your grandpa said, if it's something that you love, you can definitely do it. This is not even a
Yeah.
question. If it's
Yeah. I
in your
think I can
brain,
make it.
like I want to do this, nobody
Dude,
will
I learned
stop
how
you.
to catch a release. I figure if I can catch a release,
You can do
then
anything.
yeah, I can make money at jump rope. Right.
I love this, man. I love this. This is gonna be my quote for sure. Someone I met, easy guy. If you can do a make release, yo, you can do jump rope for a living for sure.
That's right.
Love
That's
it,
right.
bro. Love it. So it is. It is indeed. It is indeed. And if you already catch this make release, no doubt you can do it.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, as my friend Richard has pointed out a few times, if he applies the lessons that he's learned through jump rope to the rest of his life, it can help in so many ways. Just that idea of showing up day after day and sometimes failing day after day to catch that mic release or whatever, just putting in the time. Like if I apply that to getting my finances in order or getting my house in order or whatever it is, like eating an elephant. If I just show up and take one bite at a time, it may not taste good, but I could get through that elephant, right?
That's exactly what we're talking about,
Yeah.
man. That's exactly what we're
Robs,
talking
I am so thrilled that you came on to talk to me on the podcast.
about.
I hope you will come back sometime and do it again because this has been a blast.
Thank you so much. For sure, it was a pleasure as well. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking your time to showing your curiosity, and not only on my side, but what you're doing also with all your guests. You ended up
Man,
knowing a little bit the story of you getting inspired constantly. And I really hope you can keep going it. I really, really hope you can keep doing it and spreading more and more. I'll definitely gonna talk to you off camera, right?
yeah, yeah.
Because it would be a pleasure to do something with you and helping spread the
Absolutely,
word.
man. It's so fun to find people who are just so enthusiastic and thrilled about, the community and inspired to make it better, to like keep
Mhm.
making it better because it's already fucking fantastic, right? Like
Sure,
it's the
sure,
place on the internet to be in my book. And
sure,
so
sure,
when I
sure.
find people who are like, hey, let's contribute, like whether that's just telling people, hey, you did a good job, like you're doing great, or whether it's developing tools or whatever to organize, just mad respect for you, man.
Yeah, thanks. Everything that is for the community, let's go. Bring
Yeah.
it on, everybody. Thank
All
you,
right.
Dizzy. Really appreciate your time. Really appreciate it. Thank you for all the
Likewise. Thank you
feedback,
so
man.
much. Hey, friends. Thanks for hanging out on the Jump Rope Podcast. We genuinely appreciate your spending your precious jumping recovery time with us. If you had a skip-tastic time, or even if you had a pretty decent time, please smash that subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts. And hey, why not toss us a 5-star rating while you're at it? It really helps new jumpers discover the show. Got friends? Of course you do. Spread the jump rope love. Tell your friends, your family, your neighbor, that rando at the grocery store checkout, anyone who needs more jump rope joy in their life. So until next time, keep jumping, keep laughing, and remember, life's too short not to skip with a smile. Catch you in the next jump.